Stein had always been a practical man. Numbers, logic, and reason governed his life. When he stumbled upon the listing for an abandoned house on the outskirts of town, he saw only potential a fixer-upper that could become his dream home. The price was absurdly low, and the real estate agent seemed almost too eager to close the deal. But Stein dismissed the red flags. After all, old houses always came with stories. The house stood alone on a hill, surrounded by overgrown grass and twisted trees that seemed to lean away from it. Its windows were dark, some cracked, others boarded up. The paint had long since peeled away, revealing weathered wood beneath. Yet something about it called to him. Perhaps it was the silence, or the way the sunset painted the structure in shades of amber and gold. He signed the papers without a second thought. Moving in was a challenge. The floorboards creaked with every step, and dust hung in the air like forgotten memories. Stein spent his first week cleaning, repairing, and trying to make sense of the house's strange layout. There were rooms that seemed to serve no purpose, hallways that led nowhere, and a basement door that refused to open no matter how hard he pulled. It was on the 8th night that he first heard the sounds. Stein was lying in bed, exhausted from a day of painting, when a soft humming drifted up through the floorboards. It wasn't quite music, more like a vibration that resonated in his bones. He sat up, heart pounding, and listened. The sound came from below, from the direction of that stubborn basement door. Armed with a flashlight and a crowbar, he descended the stairs. The humming grew louder, more distinct. With one final heave, the basement door splintered open, revealing a staircase that spiraled down much farther than any basement should go. The walls weren't made of concrete or brick, but something smooth and metallic that seemed to shimmer in the beam of his flashlight. Stein's logical mind screamed at him to turn back, but curiosity won. He descended. The staircase opened into an enormous chamber that defied all architectural possibility. Crystalline structures jutted from the walls, pulsing with a soft blue light. In the center of the room stood three girls who looked human at first glance, but whose eyes held galaxies, whose skin seemed to shift between solid and translucent. The tallest stepped forward. "You must be Stein," she said, her voice carrying an otherworldly echo. "We've been expecting you." Stein stumbled backward, nearly dropping his flashlight. "Who? What are you?" "My name is Pfizer," the girl said, gesturing to herself and then to her companions. "These are my sisters, Lyra and Nova. I suppose you would call us refugees. We've been living beneath this house for 3 of your years." Aliens. The word felt absurd on his tongue, yet here they stood, proof of the impossible. Pfizer nodded. "Our world was dying. We fled in search of sanctuary and found this place. The previous owner knew of us, allowed us to stay. We kept the house, uninhabitable, to discourage others from purchasing it. But then he passed away, and before we could arrange for another solution, you arrived." Stein's mind reeled. "Why didn't you just leave? Find somewhere else?" Lyra, the youngest looking of the three, spoke up. Her voice was gentler, sadder. "Our ship is damaged. We need time to repair it, but the materials we require are rare on your planet. We've been gathering them slowly, secretly. And if anyone discovers us," Nova added, her tone sharp and protective, "we would be captured, studied, separated. We've seen what your kind does to things they don't understand." Stein looked at the three of them, at Pfizer's weary but determined expression, at Lyra's hopeful eyes, at Nova's defensive stance. They weren't monsters or invaders. They were just ... lost. Far from home, hiding in the dark, waiting for a chance to go back. "How long until your ship is fixed?" he asked. Pfizer's eyes widened slightly. "You're not going to call someone, report us?" "I asked you a question," Stein said firmly. 6 months, Pfizer replied cautiously. "Maybe less if we can find the right components." Stein ran a hand through his hair and laughed a short, disbelieving sound. "This is insane. You're aliens living under my house, and I'm actually considering helping you. You would help us?" Lyra's face lit up with something that looked remarkably like human joy. He thought about his life, the routine, the loneliness, the feeling that he was meant for something more than spreadsheets and mortgage payments. "On one condition," he said. "You teach me about where you come from. I want to know about your world, your technology, everything." Pfizer smiled, and for the first time since he'd entered the chamber, Stein saw her relax. "It's a deal." Over the following months, Stein's life transformed. By day he maintained the facade of renovating his house. By night he descended into the chamber, where Pfizer and her sisters shared stories of distant stars, showed him holographic maps of galaxies, and taught him concepts that made quantum physics seem simple. He helped them scavenge for parts. using his human connections to acquire rare minerals and electronic components without raising suspicion. Pfizer proved to be brilliant, her understanding of energy and matter far beyond anything Earth's scientists had discovered. Lyra had an artist's soul, creating beautiful images of her homeworld that brought tears to Stain's eyes. Nova, though slow to trust, eventually warmed to him. Sharing her knowledge of their ship's defensive systems and navigation, Stein found himself growing attached not just to the wonder of it all, but to them. To Fizz's laugh when he made a mistake pronouncing an alien word, to Lyra's excitement when showing him something new, to Nova's grudging respect when he solved a problem they'd been struggling with. When the ship was finally ready, Stein stood in the chamber with mixed emotions. "I'll miss this," he admitted. Pfizer placed a hand on his shoulder, her touch warm and surprisingly solid. "You gave us hope when we had none. You treated us as friends, not as curiosities or threats. We will never forget you, Stein. Will you ever come back?" he asked. She smiled mysteriously. "The universe is vast, but paths have a way of crossing again. Who knows?" They departed on a clear night, their ship rising silently from beneath the house, leaving only a circular patch of scorched earth in the basement chamber. Stein stood watching until the stars swallowed them whole. The house felt empty after that, but not in a bad way. It felt full of possibility, of secrets, of the knowledge that the universe was so much bigger and more wonderful than he'd ever imagined. And sometimes, on quiet nights, he thought he could still hear that soft humming, a reminder that magic, or something very much like it, was real.